Hi everyone. We have with us today Mithali Raj. She needs no introduction. She's associated, her latest association is with Jacob's Creek, and she's here to talk to us about that. And of course, a little more. So, welcome, Mithali.
Thank you, Urvi.
Yeah, so Mithali, just getting into it straight away, can you just walk us through how the association with Jacob's Creek came about?
Well, Jacobs Creek has a long-standing connection with sport. They've also been in the past. They've been sponsors of Australian Open. So now this year, ICC has officially announced them as the wine sponsors for the Women's One Day World Cup in New Zealand. So I think it's an exciting time to celebrate women's cricket through this partnership, where we also get people, fans, cricket lovers to come and celebrate women's sport, women's cricket. And also, like, Brett Lee has been the face of Jacobs Creek, so why not have a female or a woman cricketer as they face as well? So I'm quite excited to be associated with Jacobs Creek, a very known brand.
Okay, that's great. But in India, when it comes to alcobevs, celebrities are a little shy when associating with them. So, what sort of gave you the gumption to go ahead with it? And what about the brand attracted you? I mean, apart from Brett Lee, so I mean,
Well, see, for me, the foremost thing is that they're the sponsors for the One Day World Cup, women's cricket. They are here to support women's sport. So that itself is a big reason for me to be associated with Jacobs Creek. And I'm also someone who believe in a brand and the way ethically they work. So that is why my association with Jacobs Creek. And also it's a good time because it's important that you get the attention on women's cricket now. The next 2 months are going to be very important and crucial for the Indian team. So I think I don't need any other reason, but because they celebrate sport, they support women's sport, that itself is a reason for me to be associated with them.
fair enough, fair enough. Mithali, when it comes to brand endorsements, and I'm sure, throughout your career, you've been approached by numerous brands. So, what are some of the do's and don'ts for you when a brand approaches you? Without naming any brands, but like, what would be the, oh, yes, I want to do this? And what would sort of be like, oh, no, I want to stay away from this? Like certain checks that you have in place?
Well, as I said, that any brand which promotes women's sport, women's cricket, supports cricket as a sport, and also they run their business ethically right, and where there is a reason for me to sort of spread a social message through the brand itself. Sometimes because the brands do emphasize on that, they do have few things in mind. So these are the things that I really look into, and that's what is other things that I would pay attention to if I'm associating with any brand.
Mm-hmm. And anything that sort of is a red flag for you, and you say, no, I'm going to stay away from that.
Any brands which is racist or sexist, clearly there are a lot of things in these lines which you don't want to, because I don't believe in those things. So I would rather not get into things where my belief is not there. That is more important, because that is what connects you to the people. When you're endorsing a brand, and especially sports people, a lot of common people relate to them because they feel they are genuine and they relate to them. So in that sense, belief is very important, that what I'm endorsing is what I believe in, and that's how I will be able to relate to people.
Okay. Also, over the past 5 to 7 years, we've definitely seen a sort of a healthy time for women sportsperson endorsements, right? So a lot of brands have sort of started getting women sportspersons on board. How do you see the landscape of endorsements sort of evolving? Because you've been in the thick of it, and you've been through that change where brands have become more bullish on hiring women, associating with women sportspersons. So what's your take on that?
Well, I think it's really good of brands to endorse the women athletes, especially in our country. It really helps because then there are a lot of women in our country who relate to women athletes, because in the last 4 or 5 years you've seen women's sport has grown immensely in terms of popularizing, say, like tennis, badminton, shooting, boxing, cricket. So I think every sport has a woman athlete who's done well, superstars. So it's very natural, and it should be that the brands do capitalize on these and try and sort of it also spreads a message to our society that women are doing very well, and in a way it inspires more women to sort of get into fields which they've never gotten before. It gives them an inspiration looking at these role models that they can also go on to achieve or do things that they wanted to do. And also the rise has a lot to do with winning spree of these athletes, winning big tournaments, winning matches. Clearly, when you have a lot being written about your journey, the struggles that a woman athlete has to go through, and also with the matches being televised, because the more you're on television, more visibility is there, and that's what the brands also look to do. Because in the current scenarios, the more you watch, the more is registered in your mind. So I think that these are the reasons why I feel that it has improved in the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, but I'm guessing there's still a long way to go. So what would you sort of where would you want the parity to be then? Let's say in the next 5 years, what would you like to see for women sports persons as brand endorsers?
I think in the next 4 or 5 years, we have Commonwealth Games and Olympics. There will be World Cups, Women's Cricket World Cup, and also in and around these big events, if there are more branding, so it also promotes the sport, promotes the athlete, and also people will get to know a lot more about their journey and how the team is doing well. Yeah, I guess these could be the reasons which I can immediately think of right now.
Mithali, also, throughout your career, you've also probably seen the shift from linear television to digital, and how brands have also adopted digital as a mode of communication. And for a lot of brands, digital is the first port of call now.
Yeah.
As an endorser, how do you view digital, and how does it excite you in terms of the associations that you have with brands?
I think it's the quickest mode to reach out to the masses, because in a span of 2 minutes you can always post and get so many people to get notice of what you want to want them to read or get their attention to. And rightly so, the brands have also accepted this form, and it helps because sometimes when you earlier it had a lot more to do with newspapers, and it would give you 24 hours for the news to actually go around. But now with that instant messages in tweeting and Instagramming, everything that what you want out there, and you want people to know your side of the story, or you want people to know what's happening in women's cricket. A nice digital platform where you can actually sort of keep your fan base up to date as to what's happening. That really helps for a lot many sports, which really needs publicity, which needs people to look at what is happening to them. So I think this is a far better platform.
And lastly, Mithali, anything else that you want to add about your journey as an endorser, or what you think the future holds, or any message before the World Cup in New Zealand?
Well, I think the team is doing well, is preparing well for the World Cup. It's going to be 2 important and crucial months for the Indian team. We play a series against New Zealand before the World Cup, and we get into World Cup in March. And a lot of expectations from the team, because the team has done well in the last year. And let's hope that it goes really well for the Indian women's team, because if it does well, then there is a lot more things happening for women's cricket in our country in the next couple of years.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mithali, for taking out time and talking to us. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you, Urvi.